Expectations so far for the Warriors?
Oh, most definitely. Certainly these expectations are very, very high. You know, I interviewed him 2 years ago. He's the most impressive high school kid I've ever talked to. He speaks Mandarin. He wants to be a philanthropist. He wants to own fast food restaurants, and he has game. I saw it at the Hoop Summit practices that he was special. Before the draft, there was one scout told me that he was going to be a combination of David Robinson and Chris Bosh. High praise, which is going to probably be a Hall of Famer. And so far, so good. He seems to be getting better with every game. Draymond Green is in his ear, and he's listening. And he's an interesting raps, and he's got his F-150 coming to San Francisco soon to drive around instead of a Ferrari.
He can't fit in the Ferrari. You know, think about when you talk about Wiseman. Everybody always want to talk about expectations. You know, what is the team's expectation? What is Kerr's expectations?
Right.
Because he needs to go out and there just play his game. He's playing with one is out, but three dynamic players who've got rings. Who got all-star appearances. So he just needs to sit back and learn. I love the fact that he's going out and still doing his thing, because one of my favorite things is Vernon Maxwell always used to tell me in my ear, do what you do. Do what got you here. And that's what he's doing. He's just going out and playing his game, not trying to be this guy or that guy, just being himself and doing what comes natural. And he's always, like they show here with Draymond, he's always going to Draymond because why? Draymond's a defensive player. He knows the game, and he's one of the best at getting people involved. So Wiseman's learning from the best.
Yeah. These kids grow fast when they're surrounded with a bunch of talent. Like, no pressure is on him at all. And I think I was on the show probably 3 weeks ago, and we were talking about when Clay went down that the Warriors was done. A lot of people were writing them off, and a big reason why the Warriors are in the playoff conversation is because this kid right here. And this kid's going to keep moving faster and faster. He's bringing the ball up. He's crossing over guards. He's finishing with either hand. I watched one game. He's shooting threes. He is dynamic. You add that to the mix of what Golden State does and the championship pedigree, like you said, Draymond, defensive player of the year. Steph, MVP. He's learning from the best.
Yep, absolutely. All right, Mark, thank you so much for joining us today. We will see you again soon. Everyone else stick with us, because coming up, we're going to talk about the Clippers. Their improved chemistry was on display last night, and they talked about it after the win. But is that chemistry here to stay? The panel will weigh in next. First, though, here's a distant replay.
Screens and shoot the ball, but we always talk about the offensive end, but we also have to know they got to play defense, and they lost their three best defensive players. So it's really going to be interesting how they can mix that all together on both ends.
Yeah, absolutely. Because these guys are all capable of playing good team defense. KD especially, Kyrie has done it. James has even done it. I know his reputation, but he's done it if he wants to.
Said, I live in Houston.
He just hasn't bought into it that often. Yeah, I'm deferring to the guy with the 7 rings. I want to get to Karis LeVert. Moved from the Nets, of course, to the Pacers as part of that 4-team trade. But news over the weekend, he is out indefinitely after an MRI revealed a small mass on his left kidney during a physical prior to finalizing the trade. Now, the Pacers talked about the fact that they discussed, should we void the deal, right? And Robert Horry, you told the story on Friday's show about you were part of a trade for Sean Elliott when a physical revealed part of his kidney problem, and that deal was voided. The Pacers decided, though, they did want to stick with the trade. Brooklyn sent an additional $2.6 million to Indy to ensure that the deal held up, so I'm sure that helps too. LeVert will undergo further medical tests. Of course, the entire NBA community hopes to see Karis back out on the court as soon as possible, and it is a good sign, not to get into his private medical business, but the fact that the Pacers decided, after seeing his records and seeing the MRI, we don't consider this such a long-term problem. We want to keep him. That's just good to sort of know, as we all think and wish the best for him, that hopefully it's not a super significant life-altering type of thing, and he can get treatment, get back on the court as soon as possible. Another team in that deal, the Cavaliers, we learned that they intend to trade or waive 2019 first-round pick Kevin Porter Jr. during an outburst he had Friday after finding out his locker was given to Taurean Prince, who was acquired in that deal. Porter's locker had been moved to a different side. Now, Porter hadn't played this season for unspecified personnel reasons. And we, of course, know that he had a legal incident, that they were trying to get him some help. According to reporting, this was first reported by The Athletic, conferred by ESPN that Porter reportedly got into a screaming match with Cavs brass and threw some food in the locker room. Remember, J.R. Smith threw the bowl of chicken tortilla soup years ago? I don't know what it is about food in the Cavaliers locker room, but there you go. After that altercation, Porter was told to clean out his locker. Other members of the roster were informed he would no longer be on the team. As mentioned, The Athletic first reported this incident. Coach Fizz, what is your reaction to this?
It's sad, because obviously you're starting to see continuous incidents happen, and you hate to see that kind of spiral start to take place with a kid. And, I know as a black coach, you said that term a lot this show already, but as a black coach, knowing what some of these kids go through to get to where they are, and a lot of people don't understand it, but a lot of these kids, and I'm not excusing him for his behavior, but a lot of these kids suffer trauma. When you grow up in a neighborhood where gunshots is ringing out all the time, or the potential for you to get robbed is there all the time, or the police is basically occupying your neighborhood, there's trauma that comes with that. And I can tell you from the standpoint of my own personal trauma, because I lived in a neighborhood like that, and I know where this kid is from. And so it's unfortunate to see him in these circumstances. You hope that people around him can help him and galvanize him and get his career and his life back on the right track to where, because he's super talented. An NBA player is not the question. It's can he can he get all of the other stuff taken care of? And I know JB and them try to do everything they can for the kid. Hopefully it works out for him.
When these kids come out of college and they have these issues, people sometimes think, oh, he has money, he's in the NBA, he has this status, that these problems might go away. And this is not always the case. And I think these teams, they don't think like this. They think, for me, I think every team should have a former player or a player that's looked up to on their team. I would recommend, director of player personnel, something like that, where these guys can go to in confidence. I'm not saying a therapist or anything like that, but someone they can go to in confidence, say, yo, I have this issue, I have this problem. So they can talk to someone, so they can have a big brother or a father figure they can talk to, because these guys sometimes need an outlet. And you have outlets on the court like that when you burst out because you can't go to someone and yell and scream at them and curse them out. I even tell my kids, some days, if you want to be a friend, you need to let some things out, do it, because once you get it off your chest, you're going to feel better, then we can solve the problem.
Right, and teams do have those resources now, more so than when back in the day. But it's also up to the players sometimes to take advantage of them. And as you point out, guys can be a little closed off about that stuff because they've dealt with so much.
Trust issues. Like some of these guys are really, they don't trust anybody to tell anybody anything. And what he's talking about is really important. I really spent a lot of time with the Knicks, bringing back all of the former Knicks, trying to get them talking to the guys, engaging with them about their experiences, their ups, their downs, the pitfalls of the game, things that can happen at home, things that can happen with family. And so that is a critical part of our job for these young guys. And hopefully, again, can we get him back and get him on track to be a good professional and live a good life?
Well, we will keep watching that one. All right, coming up, Zion Williamson played a little bully ball against the Kings on Sunday. Is this the version of Zion we've been waiting for? Stick around to find out. First, though, it's time for our distant replay from this date in '98 featuring one Mr. Tim Duncan.
Sure that they get on the boards and not giving
Doesn't it?
whatsoever.
Take it easy.
That's just almost like Zion, but a little bit nastier. Ty, is that Ty Hill? Ooh. Supposed to be a good defensive player. I see young TD.